So what did Pasco do? He started making phone calls. He found out that the judge who signed the order that released Price was Judge Casey Manning. Pasco said that right around the time when Manning retired, on December 31st, 2022, and also around the time that Governor Henry McMaster rewarded Manning with the state's highest honor, the Order of the Palmetto, Judge Casey Manning quietly signed a sealed order that allowed for the release of convicted killer Gerard Price. And that order was executed last month. On March 15, 2023, as South Carolina law enforcement and prosecutors were still taking a well-deserved victory lap from Alec Murdaugh's conviction, Gerard Price was quietly released from prison, a full 11 years before he served the minimum sentence of any convicted murderer.
Is that in December 2022, Representative Rutherford introduced a change to this statute to include the Attorney General as someone who could also move to reduce a prisoner's sentence. Meaning, Rutherford is right now actively trying to make it so the AG can get the very same authority that Justice James was insisting the AG already had. It makes you wonder why it was so important to Justice James to blame Alan Wilson. Here's their exchange.
Would I have signed this order? No, but it was signed. And it was not, the state did not appeal from that order, correct?
Well, we didn't know about it, Your Honor.
Well, now, Mr. Gibson knew about it.
But again, it's...
And I know that a separate issue, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was going to say that I don't think that 10 days would apply because the order is void on its face because they didn't file a written motion as compliant with Rule 4, the Rules of Criminal Procedure, didn't file a copy, and they didn't have a hearing to resolve the motion from the first requirement.
Alec's defense team filed a shocking but not so shocking answer in the federal lawsuit against Alec's former insurance company Nautilus for the fraud that occurred in the Satterfield case. In the motion, Alec Murdaugh is finally admitting to lying about the fall that led to Satterfield's death. Specifically, they said that he, quote, invented Miss Satterfield's purported statement that dogs caused her to fall to force his insurers to make a settlement payment. So my question is, why admit to lying about her death now? We know how cruel Alec Murdaugh can be, but his lawyers, to open up a whole new set of wounds about Brian and Tony's mother's death after all of this time, for Alec to say, I lied about the dogs tripping Gloria, but I'm not saying what actually happened, is, in the words of Taylor Swift, so casually cruel in the name of being honest.
It's rich that Dick and Jim are doing this. It's a disgrace. There's no depths that those two lawyers will go through to at this point in time for Alex. And we're going to throw it right back in their face.
I have to say, I did not need cheering up today, but if I did need cheering up, that would have done it, Eric. That really would have done it. The thought of Dick and Jim again having one of their strategies backfire on them in such a calamitous way, it brings me so much joy. I just, and it's not even personal in the sense of like, I don't want to personally see them fail, but at the same time, the cartoonish sort of personalities that they've cultivated over the last 2 years, I like to see those figures fail.
And don't forget that Dick and Jim and Alex gave the Satterfields a $4.3 million judgment on May 31st, 2022. After we recovered more than $7.5 million. So those very same lawyers gave a confession of judgment for $4.3 million to the Satterfields. All Alex is trying to do by this pleading, guys, is get out of another $4.3 million judgment that Nautilus is going to get against him.
If they were doing something like, could Dick and Jim get paid for their participation in this?
Yeah, oh yeah.
And
yeah,
that's
they're
their
definitely
intellectual?
Yeah. They're definitely,
okay.
Yeah,
so there's a way around this law, it sounds like.
Yeah,
if you wanted to get your lawyers paid, but you're saying Buster couldn't make money off of this.
Unless he's selling something intellectually that's his, you know. But if he starts to traffic Alex's story and, it's just tough. Like you said, there's so many workarounds in this thing. It's not you don't have it tied with belts and suspenders. There's a lot of gaps in there, and just like their filing they made this week, it's bald, it's naked, it's not under oath, there's no affidavit or verified petition. It's really a serial and pathological liar who's now saying, well, I'm telling you the truth, so believe me, but neither he's under oath, there wasn't a verified petition. Well, the same thing here is, when Dick goes into court and says, oh, we spent $521,000. They didn't disclose what those costs were and itemize those. He hasn't actually said, are we getting money from other sources, other family members? He hasn't really explained, are they still being paid? Are they being paid by trust money? Did Jim raise money through a GoFundMe? All these different things that you would ask, that I am going to ask, because now that they have, fired this motion at us, we're going to seek to depose Dick and Jim and Alex.
Good. I like to hear that. What's interesting to me is that this motion to vacate and Alex's earlier motion, basically saying Nautilus, you can go after the Satterfields for the money if you'd like. That's being characterized as Dick and Jim really caring about the victims and wanting to make sure that the victims, they're acting like you and the Satterfields cut in line and are taking the lion's share from the victims.
Dolores, like so many other victims who attended on Tuesday, knows that she isn't alone and that her story is not over. She wants to continue to fight for other victims and to change the system.
Things seemed wrong early on during this case, so I sought help through SC Van. And I would like to take the opportunity at this moment to thank them for the countless hours that they have helped me and given me confirmation that my thoughts were correct. The judicial system is broken. Victims are barely included in the process. The system is designed for accused criminals or high-profile victims. I left broken and without even an apology. It is my prayer that this system gets fixed. It is my prayer that there needs to be no bond for accused murderers. And also, when these murder trials come to court, that there are someone, a mutual party, that's able to sit in on these trials and make sure that victims are getting what they deserve, making sure the judges are not violating our rights, ensuring that we get a fair chance to allow our family members' legacies to live on. Because at this point, we are failed. We are being failed terribly through the justice system. Thank you.
Before we worked up the courage to publish this first episode, this was a story Liz and I particularly were carrying for years. And when the murders happened, the weight of this story became the lump in my throat that I knew I had to get out. I was a different person when this podcast started in 2021. And in these 93 episodes, you've heard me grow from a self-conscious and uneasy 31-year-old unsure of what she wanted to a confident journalist driven by a clear mission of speaking the truth. And you cheered us on as our team has grown and expanded. You supported our work when it felt like the entire world was against us. I want to start by saying thank you for believing in us. There would not be 93 episodes of MMP without you and your unwavering and powerful support. There were so many times when I wanted to quit, but y'all kept me going.
You're broadening. We're broadening. We're becoming bigger. it's progress. It's positive. It's not a negative. It's not a Debbie Downer type of minute. It's an exciting
time. Right. When a fan said on Instagram, it feels like we're breaking up and I'm so sad. And I said, no, it's like we're all like moving into a bigger house. It's like we're getting into a more serious, stable relationship.
Yes, I like that.
It's not breaking up. It's improvement. It's getting better.